Oh, here you are, face to face in this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking. I don't really care about the music on the dance floor. I don't really mind all the smoke is in the bathroom. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today, which actually happened a couple of months ago, Puff is getting an upgrade. The tank he's currently in is a 20 gallon, which is the minimum recommended tank size for a fancy goldfish, but he's just too big for it, so he's getting an upgrade. To put it in perspective of how long ago I actually started filming this, for one, I'm actually missing some parts of the footage. Very sorry about that. The other thing is, you can see my Malfeasance Destiny prop being made in the background there. That's how long ago this was filmed. So I've just realised that I've used the top piece to spread the load on the saltwater tank. But that's okay, because I can probably like pick up a piece from Bunnings, spray paint it. No one will notice. Yeah, no one will know the difference, except for you guys. But that's fine. So as you might have guessed from the dialogue back there, this stand was actually supposed to be for my saltwater tank. My saltwater tank was second-hand and it came with this particular stand. So instead of just leaving it sitting in the shed, I thought I'd try and use it for this particular tank. Little did I know that the 40 gallon that I had planned for Puff wouldn't actually happen. I would go with a bigger tank. But I mean, it looked pretty cool for a little while there. I was so glad the tank fit in my car. It only just fit. So what tank did I get? I got a 50 gallon aquarium that was made by Australian Aquariums. It's a really cheap brand in Australia. I picked it up from Bunurong Aquarium and I love these tanks. The 20 gallon that Puff was originally in is also one of these. Now you may have picked it up on the last shot of the aquarium, but the aquarium was overhanging the supports of this table quite a fair bit. So I decided to undo all the work I did and dismantle it and replace it with something else. I'm also beginning to realise that my car just happens to be the right size for all of my aquarium needs, and I'm very thankful for that. So guys, as you can see, there's been a change of plans. Please excuse any sounds you can hear in the background, we've got some workers over at the moment. Now, the stand I had was actually built for a 150 litre aquarium, which I had modified to try and make it stronger. But I wasn't super comfortable with it, so my mum actually went to a second-hand store the other day and she found these bad boys, these lovely side tables, and thought they might work. So I went down yesterday to check them out, and they're actually longer than the tank, which is perfect, absolutely perfect. And they were also $25 each, which was insane. So I got these two really nice side tables for $50. It was a no-brainer. So I disassembled the previous stand and got it set up on this instead. I've still got the tabletop from the previous stand that I custom built under here, just because the side tables are slightly thinner than the tank and I wanted it to be pretty flush on wood. But yeah, that's super strong. Nice storage solution. Does mean I can't display props on it, but like I can hide all of my crap, which is good. So today I'm going to make a start on the hardscaping, because now it's on a stable tank, I don't feel bad about putting extra weight in it. So we'll just see how this goes. I just realized what a beautiful angle this is of this tank. Wow, that's nice. Puffer's got no idea what's coming. He's gonna be super excited when he gets in there. He's not gonna know what to do with himself. So for some strange reason, this video didn't have any audio with it, which is kind of weird because it was filmed on my phone. But essentially what I'm saying here is I have a ton of leftover gravel that I really hate the look of. I prefer black gravel for most of my scapes. So I figured I would use it to build up the substrate of this tank so I don't have to spend so much money on really nice substrate. But of course, I don't want Puff to just nosy it around and spread it everywhere and make a mess. So my solution to this was to use pantyhose or stockings, put the gravel in these, and so I basically have little bean bags that I can stack to sort of make a mound at this end of the tank. And again, I'm sorry, there's noisy miners, the local birds, outside my window. Every single time I go to record, they tend to do this. Very sorry. They're just an integral part of my videos now, it seems. So here I'm just showing you how I made my beanbags of gravel. This did make a fair bit of mess, not only just from dropping the gravel, but there was a lot of dust. So I'd probably recommend doing this outside instead of at your desk. Whoops. So after all of this, I was left with about 9 of these bean bags of gravel, which was enough for what I needed. And I could get to placing them in the tank. So I made a pretty big mistake during this part. I actually forgot to boil the logs. Yeah. That has definitely bit me on the butt. Like, really bit me on the butt. I washed them and all, made sure they were safe, I just didn't boil them, so now I have a tank full of tannins a couple of months later. But that's okay, the tannins will run out eventually, it just kinda sucks. So yeah, take this as a reminder to boil any logs or driftwood or anything, even from the pet store, before you put it in your tank, because it's very likely you'll end up with a tank full of tannins. Now just to quickly break my trail of thought, here I'm just using super glue to make sure the wood doesn't move around. It's completely safe once cured for use in aquariums. Now maybe you want to take full of tannins. It's pretty good for fish. Puff seems to really enjoy it actually being in the dark. She's a lot more out there and happy and swimming around. But I'd like to be able to see through my tank a little better than I can. So yeah, it wasn't great for me. Now right here, I was super thankful for the gravel bean bags I put in because this used so many bags of this really nice gravel. Oh my god. But this here was one of the major things I learned to improve upon with my new goldfish tank. And that is the size of the gravel. Anything that a goldfish can put in its mouth, it will. In that regard, you kind of have to treat it very similar to how you treat axolotls. You either need to do really big pebbles that they cannot fit in their mouth, or you need to do something very tiny so even if they do manage to swallow it, it'll be okay. So one noticeable difference between Puff's old tank and the new one is a choice of gravel. So this gravel is, it's almost sand. It's 2 millimeters versus I think about 7 centimeters in the current one. And the problem with like chunkier gravel pieces is that goldfish can actually get them stuck in their mouths, which is not something I knew until very recently. So that's definitely a big change here. So shouldn't have any problem with Puff getting this stuck. You see it sometimes when goldfish are like scavenging around in the substrate, they will pick up a rock and spit it out. You don't want that. You want it to be really, really fine. So either a really fine gravel or a sand is probably best for goldfish, or a bare bottom tank.
So here I'm just misting down the substrate a little bit to prepare for the plants. This is probably one of my favorite parts.
So the plants for this have to be ones that a goldfish isn't going to rip apart, eat too much of, or just uproot. Puff has currently been in a tank, 20 gallons for quite a while now, with some fin bell, I think it is. Different types of Java fern, Java moss, and Anubis, and they seem to be pretty good plants for him that also look rather nice, rather aesthetically pleasing. So these are the main plants that are going to be used in this tank. I haven't decided if I'm going to use any others at this stage, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to try and propagate them from other tanks, but I may need to purchase some more. I'll see how I go today. Alright, I have to show you how long this piece of jungle Val is that was sitting in a 20-gallon tank. This is insane, and it keeps going. Wow. As we're getting some work done on the house, our water is actually turned off at the moment, but as soon as that's on, I'm going to fill this up. This is really exciting, it's looking awesome.
But while we're waiting for that, let's take a closer look at this tank. So the inspiration for this tank was, I don't know if you can guess, but a tree trunk, the base of a tree with all the little ferns and, you know, little plants that you would typically see in a forest. But I wanted this tank to really showcase Puff, my goldfish, and to do that I've left a wide open space where Puff is basically the main attraction, the main showpiece. I wanted to have this sort of air of a fairy floating around near the roots of a large forest. And I think this scape really gave it the bare bones that would achieve that in the long run. And now just placing the last finishing touches, and we just have to let it sit for a while. Puff really hated the bucket. Now, as Puff was getting an upgrade and I really didn't like this 10-gallon, I thought that Clyde, my dwarf gourami, could also get an upgrade. And along with him, his Ember Tetra friends. Sadly, this wouldn't last very long because Clyde would actually jump out of this new tank a couple of weeks later. I have most definitely learnt from this experience, and now I have styrofoam filling up every single tiny gap on all of my tanks. Fish will always find a way to jump if you give them the opportunity. And this tank? Well, I turned it into a greenhouse. I actually have an older video showing this process with the tank that's actually underneath this one, which you can see in this footage. But now it's time for Puff to go into his new home. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. Of course, it is most definitely a shame that this tank is now absolutely full of tannins, but the main point of this was to make Puff happy, and he is absolutely over the moon and so comfortable in his new tank. So much of his personality has been fleshed out, and it's wonderful to see. If you have the means, never go with the bare minimum. Go with something way bigger. Trust me, it's so worth it. Also, if anyone could sex my goldfish, that would be wonderful, because I've referred to him as a he and a she throughout this entire video, and I have no idea which one he is. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next Friday. Bye!